Do you want to know how to bring back dead leads with creative follow-up strategies? Well, stay tuned. My name is Sara, and this is the Resimply channel. Today, we're going to go into specific scripts and tips and tricks for calls, emails, and SMS to bring back those leads. Okay, the first thing I'm going to say is, despite the title saying bringing back dead leads, my first piece of advice for having more success with your leads is to not mark them dead. All right. We recently had a lead circle back to us after being in the system over 600 days, guys, 2 years, right? So just because someone wants retail now, the timing's not right, it's not a good fit, those are not reasons to mark a lead as dead, because things change, right? Now, you're going to want to keep systems in place to not lose those leads and have touches throughout, and that's what we're going to get into. But the first thing I'm going to say is have some definitions and terms for your team to follow for marking leads dead. Of course, there's deals that are dead, right? Someone opts out. They sold their house. Those are obvious. But perhaps there's areas you're just not interested in, or other certain criteria that you want to mark as dead. But make sure you have those spelled out so you can hold your team accountable, because we all know that salespeople will mark something dead just because the seller was annoying, or they were frustrated, or the deal fell out once. Doesn't mean it couldn't come back. Okay, so make sure you have those defined so you can keep your team accountable to that and there's clarity. Now, the next thing, of course, is keeping in front of these leads, keeping them in front of yourself and in front of your team so that they don't float away into oblivion, because a lot of these sellers are going to sell their house at some point and to someone. So we want it to be us, right? All right, here's a tip for you guys. If you make an offer and not accepted by the seller, when do you next follow up with that person? Are you team just discouraged or embarrassed how low their offer was that they don't call them back or they don't follow up? Maybe they're marking it dead. What I would say you should do is call that seller every week for 2 months. And I would sprinkle in some emails and some texts as well. Things like, "We're still interested," verbiage, or "Our offer is still good," or "Did you decide to sell to someone else? Let me know." These types of things, we just want to get some sort of response and get an update and keep in front of these people, even if they accepted another offer. A lot of times when someone's paying more than we could offer, it's not real, right? That buyer can't perform once they see the property or try to wholesale it or whatever. We have so many leads come back to us because we held our ground, we didn't get into a bidding war, we didn't pay more than the numbers said that we could, but all of a sudden now the seller is coming back to us, right? So following up on offers made, not accepted is huge. If someone ghosts you or isn't returning your calls, either after you've made an offer or before you get to making an offer, there's 2 really good phrases that I've had success with that you can leave in voicemails, but you can send in SMS. The first one is kind of the approach of, "Did I mess up? I'm afraid that I did something wrong here and that's why I haven't heard back from you. Can I make it right?" Or, "Yeah, did I mess up?" And you just kind of leave it at that and they'll circle back with you. We had someone come back via text and tell us, "Yeah, I got really nervous when you told me I have to make a decision right away." Great, now we know they need a little more kid gloves or they have some things they need to work out before they're ready to commit to selling. So that's a really good approach. Did I mess up somewhere? The next text, a simple one-liner, "Hey seller, have you given up on selling such and such address?" Or, "Hey seller, have you given up on an offer from us?" Even to buyers that ghost you, "Have you given up on such and such address deal?" And it almost always gets a response. They'll be like, "No, I haven't given up," or "Yes, I sold." I don't know what it is about that message, but we have a lot of success with it. So that's my tip for you guys. Now, we all know that SMS is getting cracked down on by carriers, and keywords that are relevant for our business are getting flagged from our text getting sent out. So I highly encourage you to use email marketing in your mix of follow-up campaigns, because you can say whatever you want, right? You can go super in depth and spell out processes and how you can help sellers and strategies and lots of words if that's your thing. I also encourage that you send some very short, very brief emails similar to what you would put in a text, and have a mix of both, because you never know what's going to catch a seller's eye. You never know which email they're actually opening versus ones that they don't, because everyone gets so much email these days. But one of the things we like to do early on in the process, within the couple first touches from somebody, is to send an email with a credibility packet about our company. So it's an attached PDF. It goes through who we are, how long we've been doing business. It has a couple examples of properties we've done, and it has some testimonials of sellers we worked with. And I think that just sets us apart as being really professional and relatable with sellers. So create a credibility packet for yourself, put it in your emails, definitely send it to sellers after you have an appointment with them so they can, do their due diligence. And again, trying to make them feel comfortable to work with you. Okay, we've got a couple calling strategies up our sleeve that we use to follow up on dead leads. And the first one is doing a manager call. Pick up the phone, a different voice, whether you're the manager or not, and just make a manager call to the seller and act like it's a customer service feedback type of approach. Hey, Mr. Seller, I know you were working with John and considering selling whatever property. I just wanted to reach out and make sure that you had a good experience. Did you feel heard and feel that that was fair? Or do you have any feedback for me about him or our process? And just let them talk, right? Maybe they'll share something that did go wrong or something they didn't like. A lot of times they don't, and they're just like, nah, it was fine. They were great. And then you can say, okay, well, how did things end up? Where did you leave off? And it can be a great opportunity to re-engage with the seller and pick things back up, or maybe fix a problem that happened along the way. So a manager call is a really good trick to apply for dead leads. All right, the other approach that is kind of ninja for dead leads is coming in as a new investor, right? Pick up a new phone number and a new voice, someone else on your team, and just dial again. If you don't have that big of a team, just call back and wait a day. Trust me, by the time these sellers hang up with you, they've probably forgotten who you are and who they talk to. It happens all the time that sellers don't remember us, even when we had a 30-minute conversation. We set a follow-up appointment, right? Sellers are getting bombarded with calls and touch points left and right, so you can just slide right in with the mix of all the others and act like you're a new investor and try to pick up the conversation. Use some of the information and the intel that you got from the first time around with this seller and try to steer the call the way that you want it to go. I do encourage you to slightly change your script, or maybe cut over some of the pieces that are less applicable, that you don't need to repeat, and try to get new information or try to move them further along the process on that next call. But don't just move someone to dead. Don't just move on from them. If it was a hot lead and a really motivated seller with good urgency, just pick up the phone from a new number and call them again, act like a new investor, and hopefully you can lock up that deal. All right, a couple more things when it comes to calls and scripting. I want to make sure that you guys are aware of same side selling. All right, this is a really big ninja tip. Seems obvious, but a lot of people miss it. You will start hearing your sales team saying things like we and us and our team right to the seller. And what that does is puts a barrier between the seller and us, where you want your salesperson to be on the same side with the seller. They're here to solve all their problems, and the company or the financial partners, they're kind of the bad guy, right? There's good cop, bad cop. And so if I'm the acquisition team member calling the seller, I'll say things like I'm going to talk to my financial partners. They'll let me know what the offer price is. Or, hey, I'm going to go to bat for you with my team and try to get you as much money as possible. I know the partners, a lot of times they're really conservative, but it's really helpful that you told me how much you feel is a fair price for the property. Verbiage like that, get on the same side with the seller, and even make the partners, the company, they're separate. And so it's not us versus them, it's us, the seller, versus them. And that will go really far in sales psychology, so that sellers are honest with you, they feel heard, and it really does position you in a good place to present offers, and you're no longer the one negotiating with them, right? These guys were negotiating. You're just trying to get them the money that they want. So we found this to be really helpful. It goes a lot into sales psychology and breaking down the barriers that people have. We don't have time to go into all of that in this video, but I encourage you to cut out from your sales team's verbiage we phrases and instead replace them with they. All right, that's it for today. I hope you found some of these strategies and scripts helpful. Go out there and revive dead leads. Here's to your success.